So from 1980 I've got Joy Division's Love Will Tear Us Apart. It was a very unique sound. They were a post-punk band from Manchester, and it got to number 1 in the New Zealand charts in 1981, which is pretty remarkable for an alternative song in New Zealand in those days. The next one I've got on my list is Susie and the Banshees' Spellbound, and that's from 1981. And Susie Sue was, she had a great voice, she had a really different look. I spent a lot of time after I taped the song off the radio, stopping and starting it so that I could get the lyrics. I've got the Psychedelic Furs, Love My Way, that's from 1982, and again quite a unique sound. They then became a little bit more mainstream when their song Pretty in Pink was selected for the very famous movie of the 80s with Molly Ringwald called Pretty in Pink. Bauhaus, She's in Parties, that's from 1983. Again, Peter Murphy's voice, quite unique. Listen to it a lot on my flatmate's tiny little turntable with a built-in speaker, so that you can imagine the sound was pretty bad. 1984, Echo and the Bunnymen, Killing Moon. I fell in love with Ian McCulloch as soon as I saw him, but also again a quite different sound and a very moody sort of soundtrack. 1985 I've got The Damned Eloise, which was a remake of Barry Ryan's hit from the 1960s. The Damned version is my all-time favourite. They just really did something else with it, and also I love the name Eloise, and my daughter is called Eloise. 1980 I've got Marianne Faithfull's Broken English. So Marianne was a popular singer in the 1960s. It sort of hung around with the Rolling Stones, but unfortunately had a bad heroin addiction, so she ended up living on the streets, and she came back with this fabulous album at the end of 1979, which didn't make it to New Zealand until 1980. 1981 I've got The Specials, Ghost Town. So they were a ska band, and a lot of the ska bands I really loved, and took a while learning how to do the skanking, which is the specific dance that you do for it. 1988, and it was The Church, Under the Milky Way. A really great Sydney band that is still around now. And my last one would be 1982, The Jam, A Town Called Malice. A great different sound, and one of the NME magazine's top 10 tracks of 1982. First live concert I went to in Christchurch that I actually didn't just sit outside and listen to, I had money to buy tickets, was The Police when they came to the Christchurch Town Hall. And the most outstanding one here was probably The Clash, because they weren't intending to play Christchurch, because a lot of bands didn't ever come to Christchurch. So they played Auckland and Wellington, and then Radio U, as it was known then, and it's now of course RDU. They got a petition together to get fans to sign and ask them to come to Christchurch, and they actually listened and they came. And it was fantastic, and that was at the Christchurch Town Hall as well. I moved to Australia in 1985, so had the privilege of a lot of bands, Australian bands that played just in the Melbourne pubs before they became super famous. It was a pretty cool time to be living in Australia and New Zealand. Yeah, we would see the Chills and Straight Jacket Fits, Toy Love and the Bat. It was great. Bands that played at the Gladstone and the Star and Garter and places like that, which don't exist anymore, unfortunately. These days, of course, we really don't have record stores anymore. It was a big part of our life. There was one in Papanui called Roundabout Records, and we used to hang around there quite a bit. We'd beg for the posters and then take them and put them up in our flat. It's quite sad to see the demise of the record stores, because it was a big part of life in the 80s.